What it do, what it do, what it do, and welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Wind Down, your favorite chat show hosted by yours truly, Jer Bear, aka Jeremiah Neal, aka the pop culture maven, aka
a time traveler?
I have to claim this into my existence because why is 2026 almost over, y'all? I'm definitely being dramatic, of course, but how in the hell are we in March already, y'all? Like, time flies truly when you are having fun, but I just need 2026 to kind of slow down just a little bit. It must be the full moon energy. It must be a full moon, like one of those nights. Shout out to the queen, Brandy. I got to go see her in Vegas, y'all. Her and Monica, I'm mad I missed the tour, but better late than never, like Riley Burris. I've got to see that show. But anywho, y'all, what's good? What's Gucci? What's gooey? I feel like it's been a really, really great, fun week in pop culture. I've been all up in the blogs, just seeing what's going on. Award season is in full effect. Shout out to Michael B. Jordan, winning award after award after award, despite all the controversy. Man, I would have loved to be at the NAACP Image Awards this year. Ugh, that room looked so full of just glowing energy. Fun fact, y'all, that was actually my very first award show that I attended when I moved to LA in 2013. And it was super crunk then, so I can only imagine how this year's was. Also, super, super proud of my boy Tyriq Withers, another Florida's finest candidate. Okay, he been skyrocketing into the industry so hard, just catapulted to stardom, and I love to see it, y'all. I just love a trajectory that's just so fast like that, especially for a Floridian, because I feel like we just don't get enough credit. We don't get enough love for what we put out there, and we're very charismatic people too. So shout out to Tyriq. I love seeing it. He over here chilling with Don Lemon and Rihanna. That's how you do it. That's how you live life. Side note, are we feeling, y'all? Are we feeling Harry Styles' dancing? Just want to ask y'all right quick. I just seen him perform Aperture. I believe it was a BRIT Awards that he did this. And I will say it was quite interesting. On one hand, I'm feeling like, yes, everybody got a little queer in them. Everybody got a little disco queer goddess just floating within them. So it's cool to see that come alive. And it's cool to see Harry be so free on stage, especially with men in this industry. I always feel like they'd be trying to act all constricted. We already just clocked Benson Boone about this. But I'm like, yeah, you better have your 50 mil dancers on stage. Y'all better be twirling around and doing what it do. It actually kind of reminded me of Jerry Halliwell's It's Raining Man performance. So I'm like, yes, homage, I get it. But then I'm like, I can kind of see why 1D ain't dance, y'all. Or I can see why they didn't want to dance. They could have definitely put Harry in a couple more rehearsals or staged him differently to hit some of the moves a little different than some of the background dancers, because I feel like when creative directors do stuff like this, they kind of set their artists up for failure. You're supposed to be presenting their strengths. Nevertheless, I don't know. I'm kind of feeling, I like people overall feeling free. And so that's the angle and the vibes that we're going for. So shout out to Harry Styles for trying to be adventurous, and good for you, boo. Speaking of a fellow Brit and the reason why we have today's episode, I don't know if y'all saw, but my girl, Corinne Bailey Rae, she just announced that she's going on her 20th anniversary tour. So first of all, I need to go ahead and sign up for the Social Security and all that right now, because how is her stuff 20 years old? That just sounds insane, which is crazy. At the same time, Janet Jackson came out with an album called 20 Years Old. This was back in, 2006? So I wonder how Janet Jackson feeling. But just seeing that tour announcement, it just brought back so many memories, because I remember I was obsessed with my girl. I love me some Corinne Bailey Rae. And to be honest, if we really want to go there, she definitely has spawned so many sons and so many daughters with her style of singing, with her musical aura and her energy. And I don't know if she gets the proper credit that's due. So all y'all better be pulling up to this tour and showing my girl some love. Buy the merch, do whatever you got to do, because this has been way overdue. And like I said, so many people have literally copied her style, even to the likeness of SZA, that singing. Corinne don't sing like that way, but there are some stylistic choices that I feel like I hadn't heard until I heard Corinne's records. But it just got me thinking, there are also several artists that we used to bump in the 2000s and the 2010s, maybe even the 90s, that we've forgotten about. So I want to trek y'all through my list, my top 6 artists that y'all should be remembering. And hopefully this commentary, just convinces y'all to add their music on your playlist. Just go down memory lane, or just, reactivate those old playlists and those old songs that you used to the bump over and over again like we all used to do. So let's get it poppin'. All right, y'all, we kicking off the list steady and strong. All right, I gotta set the scene for y'all for this artist. It's 2008. Y'all just finished watching an episode of Teen Mama MTV. And there's like a minute-long video for a segment called Artists to Watch. And all of a sudden, this cute little Japanese white boy with a guitar is on the screen, and there's a bonfire, and he's just serenading his friends. And it's literally like the most romantic song of all time, and you're just gushing and goo goo gaga. And even just saying this right now, I just want to go back. Please take me back. But I'm talking about my boy, Justin Nozuka. Who remembers Justin Nozuka? He was so talented. I feel like that first project, After Tonight, Golden Train, like what? These songs were like on and on and on. And this is why I love TikTok. TikTok has been like such a blessing to not only creators and consumers, but artists as well, because you can have a revival moment on there. And that's exactly what happened with Justin. After Tonight has been trending and been going viral for like the last 3 months. So it's kind of gotten him to start making content. It got trending as a sound on the platform, not necessarily him, but it's kind of cool that, like I've talked about this and preached about, we as consumers are the wave, so we control the interest. And so for a song that hasn't had popularity in over 20 years to just randomly start charting and going viral on TikTok shows you, our power. But even more so, it convinced him to start doing content, which I'd love to see, because he's leaning into the late 20s, early 30s, that 5 o'clock shadow scruff vibe, not the I don't care vibe, but it's nice to see him mature. As y'all can see, I'm trying to, propose. But also just taking advantage of the tools that are right in front of you. I love to see it. I also just love reading the comments, because so many people were saying how they forgot about this song and how much they remember, how much they loved it. And that's exactly what I said at the top of the episode. Like, just because we were bombarded with single after single by all these new artists and stuff like that doesn't mean that we have to forget about the greats. Let social media sometimes, y'all, be that reminder for y'all that y'all were listening to amazing quality records in the past. And someone like Justin definitely deserves it. When we got all the Justin Timberlakes and the Biebers, there was a little Canadian. Well, I think he was actually born in New York, but I know he was definitely heavily based in Toronto, which I gotta go to Toronto. I'm this close and I don't go. It's kind of crazy. But anywho, Justin has been working on new music, so I need y'all to check out my favorite single off of his latest EP. It's called Said I Don't Cry. So y'all need to go check that out. And also get ready for our wedding in 2040 in Toronto. I will be sending all the pop-holics and my pop heads invitations, so y'all better get ready. But shout out to Justin for making the end of the 2000s just such a moment for real singer-songwriters and musicians, real artists. I love it. I love it. Okay, come on, Rihanna. I love it when you eat it. Next, we're going to trek over to Ireland / the UK. This is what I want to sing to Justin. Baby, come on over. Last week, we was over here talking about justice for, well, not even last week. I feel like I done like 3 episodes about this, but justice for, our Black girls in the pop industry, especially with the controversy with Mano from Cat's Eye. But my girl Samantha Mumba was the original. She was the OG of this movement. She was the it girl. When was the last time y'all seen a girl have back-to-back hits like that for their debut and also star in movies? Don't forget, because my girl was also in Time Machine, okay? Samantha was really that girl. Her career was predestined to be great, but tale as old as time, y'all already know how it goes. Based off those industry politics, things can just have a halt be put on them, and I can't stand it because she had such motion. Like, do y'all not remember her Disney Channel concert? It was just such an iconic era, and I truly adored Samantha Mumba because growing up, she showed me that Blackness wasn't a monolith. Yes, of course, we dominated in hip-hop, we dominated in R&B, and we had Darius Rucker over there doing his little country thing or whatever, but she really owned her role as a Black pop princess. And it was so cool to have a Britney Spears, have a Christina Aguilera, and then, right on the same TRL charts, we had Samantha. I love that. In the present day, I feel like this is what we need more of. We see this with our artists like Normani trying to fight through the industry, even with the rappers, Coi Leray. There's just so many artists really wanting to cut through the crowd of craziness. And I feel like they should put Samantha on their mood boards. In present day, my girl Samantha is still doing acting, y'all, which is amazing. She actually pulled a Zendaya. Shout out to her getting married. Actually, not quite, because she's still releasing music. She released a banger a couple of years ago called Cool. Like, I want to say 2023. I used to love that. And I was so excited, but it didn't catch the blogs and it didn't catch the wave that I thought it should have. But that's why I'm here now to, put y'all on. But she's also acting in an Irish show called Harry Wilds. So I got to check that out. Y'all know I love me. I used to love me some Girls and Skins from the UK and stuff like that. So I need to get into this UK television, this Irish television. But shout out to my girl for keeping a job. I also know that she always be at the festivals over the summer. I feel like that's the nostalgic thing to do. If you were an act that came out between the years of 1991 and 2012, get your ass on one of them little festival tours over the summer and you will definitely get a job and get your music heard to thousands of people. It's like the easiest way to market yourselves nowadays without having the cost like come crazy out of your budget. And she's also a mommy, which we also love. So
I'm a mommy.
Parenting is also like one of the most important jobs in the world. So I hope to see like Amina from Love and Hip Hop. Her daughters are now singing and I just can't wait to see what the kids can do. If your parents are all cool as hell, like Samantha Mumba, I just can't wait. Just like Scary Spice Kids. I love seeing stuff like that. Let's go. Shout out to my girl. Gotta tell you this tonight. Y'all don't like that morning voice. Next on the list, we have Sanjaya. I kid. Even though I just recently started following Sanjaya on TikTok because he started posting just like random singing videos. And I love it. I love it. I'm so supportive of anyone just shining their artistry, their light, their energy out there to the world, especially if you can sing down like him, because them vocals are like butter. Honestly, I feel like the bullying towards Sanjaya was a little bit racist, especially because he was a brown boy back in the day of the Iraqi war. But we ain't gonna get into all that. But the real AI contestant I want to talk about, okay, let's be specific. American Idol contestant, not artificial intelligence. This is crazy. AI should always be default American Idol. The person I wanted to talk about was David Archuleta. I know y'all love y'all some David Archuleta. Even if y'all don't listen to his music, y'all just see his face and he just puts a smile on your face, which is a wonderful energy to embody. But this is a weird choice for me. Not necessarily weird, but to me, I feel like David hasn't stopped since he's put out his first album in 2007 because I follow his career so closely. But then I have to like broaden out the scope, and I was like, he's a very like niche artist, I would say. Not a lot of people know that David Archuleta is still making music, just because I just assumed that he was just so relevant to the public eye. But if y'all haven't heard, David Archuleta has come out the closet, y'all. He is a queer baby boy that just exited out of the Mormon church. If y'all didn't know, he also released a book called DevOUT. So the new book covers him finding his queer identity and not necessarily speaking against the Mormon church, but coming to terms with knowing whatever that they follow doesn't necessarily serve him for this current trajectory of his life, which I applaud because I feel like every single person should have the option to find themselves. This is not a thing like bashing religion. I feel like if people like that route, then they should, do their thing. But I also love when people can't awaken and know that they don't have to be so sheltered or, the world is their oyster and they're allowed to go explore. And baby, David Archuleta has definitely been, it's crazy to see like just that shy boy from our TV screens now doing little shirtless campaigns and being sexy and stuff. But again, everybody's allowed to find that within themselves. And I'm sure that must be so freeing. Talk about another person doing festivals and stuff like that. He's been doing all the gay prides for, I want to say, since COVID. So that must be so cool knowing that you can go to all the gay circuit tour shows and hang out with the drag queens, and just knowing that 10, 15 years ago, that was definitely not going to be your life if you hadn't just like taken the plunge and believing and loving self. So shout out to David for awakening and evolving and just being self. But when we get back to the music side of things, David has been releasing music, like I said, back to back to back over the years. And so some of the songs I think y'all need to be added to your playlist. This song, Beast, I play that song all the time. That came out during COVID. I love that track. Can I Call You is another bop. Creme Brulee, he was in his Sabrina Carpenter Espresso Bag with that one, which is smart. You got to play on what the consumers want to hear. But I love that he's experimenting with like this 80s power pop vibe. I can really get into that. And we always talk about an artist trying to have a signature sound. I love that he's thinking about that outside of songs like Crush that we know him for. So shout out to my baby David. Definitely y'all go check out this this book. He's definitely dropping some tea. And shout out to him for, again, 20 years later, still finding his way and releasing new content. Couldn't ask for more. There's a weird trend going on because it seems like a lot of the people that I'm picking, it's the British people. What's going on? But where all my EuroHouse fans at? Where are my house fans, my dance fans, etc.? Even if you're not a fan of that particular genre, when It Feels So Good by Sonique comes on the airwaves in the club, when you hear this song, you have no choice but to pop that punani. Like, the beat just makes you want to get up and pop it. Pop that thing like Christina Milian. There must be audio crack embedded into the waves of the song. I have to tell you that. I remember hearing the song for the first time because during a dance recital, the older kids got to do like a hip hop jazz combo to this song. And I remember standing on the side of the stage being enamored by their technique and stuff like that, but just the grooves of this song. And then people always ask, there's always a question, would you want to be a one-hit wonder or would you want to have like a long career with mega hits? Like, obviously people want to have mega hits. And my girl, first of all, Sonique has multiple hits, so this isn't geared towards her. But hypothetically speaking, I would be so happy if I had a song like that hit so hard. Personally, you wouldn't need to release another track. You are set for life. And to also be Black and dominating the electronic charts. What a time. Like, obviously we know house, at least in the United States, was amplified and created by Black folks. I'm not quite sure of like the Euro vibe, so I definitely got to do my research on that. But just to see her doing her thing and back in 1998, things like this were not heard of. I think we forget because the world has, jumped up leaps and bounds when it comes to progress, even though we got a long way to go. Okay, don't be getting it twisted. But times were a lot different, y'all, 30 years ago. So shout out to my girl, who is also, again, I curated the best list, y'all, because the people that I'm talking about, they're still active. We just got to open our eyes. Our girl is also on tour doing summer festivals. And that's something I got to witness. I'm trying to get out to Europe in October time, but I'm hoping that something aligns with her. Because could y'all imagine just being in the festival pit? This is not even my vibe, and I'm already getting crunk. Your loving feels so pop that. Also, if y'all love It Feels So Good, y'all definitely have to check out. I think this song came out around the same time, but it just probably couldn't catch the wave. Similar to We Belong Together and Shake It Off by Mariah Carey. Shake It Off couldn't hit #1 because We Belong Together was holding the #1 slot. So in that same vein, check out Sonique's You're the Reason. That song, It Feels So Good, is the one that's, we talking about bumping and grinding and having that quality love connection with our partner. But You're the Reason is like the more romantic one, but it's still dance pop, but it's still just a little bit more romantic. So I love that because you feel like different vibrations, but you still feel wavy in the same way. So yes, get into my girl, y'all. We love you, Sonique. All right, next on the list, we got another Floridian dominating a space and a world that the world told him he shouldn't be in, which is the rap game. So we got to give our just due to my girl, Miss Saucy Santana. Oh my goodness. And I know my girl Kes, she knows I love me some Saucy, but again, I'm always rooting for my Floridians. I'm always rooting for the people, the underdogs. And Saucy gave us nothing but hits for literally 5 years straight, whether or not the world was having their ears open to it. But Saucy actually got into the musical game and came up with almost being like a third wheel to the City Girls, Carisha and JT. Period. He started off as doing their makeup, and then during this time, being active on social media was super important for artists. So they were always on Instagram Live and now TikTok Live. But he was able to transform his like social popularity into a rap career, which I thought was super, super cool. Even to the point where during the pandemic, he ended up dropping his first viral smash. I feel like Walk It Like a Dog was the first viral smash, but the first song that I saw went mainstream and that everybody was using like TikTok challenges and Instagram challenges was the song Walk. And he created this song because he ended up getting to a beef with R.I.P. but Rolling Ray. And honestly, the rest was history. Why I love Saucy is that he's so unapologetically himself. If you've never seen a visual of Saucy, Saucy wears a full face of glam and lashes and effeminate clothes and sometimes high heels, sometimes a wig, but then he has like his beard tapered down to the gods. I just love someone who's so in tune with their androgyny. I feel like sometimes it's a bit forced, especially someone that is non-binary and the whole MB movement that went crazy during the pandemic. Sometimes I will say from someone inside the crowd, it is a bit forced. But I feel like Saucy radiates very authentic energy, and I love to see that. And especially in a space like hip hop, like that's so finally refreshing to see. Imagine like Milli Vanilli, well, they weren't even as androgynous as Saucy, but imagine them coming out with hip hop records the same times as like the Rakims and these people. Them people would have been looking at them crazy during that time. So it's so cool to see. We got Lil Nas X, we have Saucy Santana, Kim Barbie. We can have queer hip hop and it can exist. There's several queer rappers that are really creating their own space. Now, although the tides are turning, Tana did get shot at the club. Which means that there is still more work to be done because there is still some hate out there. But nevertheless, keep on doing your thing, Santana. And I think you continuing to perform, continuing to release music, continuing to be yourself shows that the world will never be able to stop folks like us from being ourselves and getting our rightful bag. So you should be on every Black queer artist's mood board for sure. Song recommendations that y'all need to get into from Santana. It's just speaking about shootings, Shoot Up the Club. I shouldn't be listening to the song, and maybe it's a flip of the experience that he went through, but the beats, they're just so Florida. So Florida. Love it. Respectfully, that's a great song. Booty featuring Lotto. Saucy Santana was on a song with Madonna, y'all. He came out with a song called Material Girl, and Madonna wanted to hop on the remix. Like, talk about power. This is what we love. So Saucy got too many hits, honestly, for me to name, but that's a good batch for y'all to get into, my girl, and see what Tana is giving to y'all. Yes, I love you, Saucy. Please continue. Never stop with the music. Go off, Saucy. All right, y'all. We finally get into the last act on my list. Now, I must say, do any of y'all listening remember the band, the duo Karmin from 2011? In my eyes, I feel like they were one of the first acts that I saw, even before Justin Bieber, that were able to use YouTube to spread their musical art to the world. And I remember watching this in real time and being like so confused as to like this platform and how we were allowed to express ourselves in this way, because prior to that, we didn't have social media. We had MySpace, but people weren't like singing covers on MySpace. They would upload their MP3. It was never like getting on camera and doing the stuff on camera like this. So Karmin actually went viral when I believe they were in Berklee College of Music at the time, but they went viral years ago for doing a cover of Chris Brown's Look at Me Now featuring Busta Rhymes. And then they ended up getting signed to a label. They released a couple of hits like Broken Hearted and Hello. But since then, they've had a wonderful rebrand, and I'm just obsessed with the fearlessness that they exude with their current catalog. But Karmin is now Qveen Herby. Queen is spelled with a V, so Qveen. And in this lineup, Amy is the front woman, and Nick, who is her current partner, they've been together for 17, 18 years. But Nick, who was a front person in Karmin, now is kind of like stepping back, just leaning more into the production vibes. And if I must say, I kind of like this route. It seems like everybody is in their zones of where they truly feel comfortable. And you could definitely tell that Nick probably didn't like the vibe of the industry, the label meetings, the googly eyes from the weirdos in those meetings. So I get it. But their overall energy and overall vibe is about spirituality, alignment. They always be talking about crystals, protecting your energy, which y'all know is so me, because on all these day episodes, I always be talking about must be a full moon. Always talking about a new moon, the eclipses and all that. So y'all can tell I'm very aligned with their message. More importantly, they collaborated with Duran Bernard, Grammy Award winning Duran Bernard, before many were collaborating with him, which I thought was amazing. But they have a song called Self-Aware that is like my motivational song. It's a little, they be cussing. So you maybe can't play it around the kids, but if you want to feel like you're the baddest walking around your neighborhood or your office space at work, you got to add this to your motivational playlist, or even the gym playlist. I think it might be cool. Lifting weights. Again, I think their story is cool because number one, they said F you to the labels. We don't need y'all. We're going to do our stuff independent. They got the resources. So all of their quirky, cool album covers and stuff like that are all shot in their home. And I'm assuming it's like them or their their team that's just handling all of this. We got Nick on the production. So it's like they figured out their own entity. They figured out their own business, and they're able to release music year after year after year. So y'all got to get into Qveen Herby. Some of those songs that I definitely recommend: Vitamin C, talk about wellness. Mind Games, that's my song. I love Mind Games. Oh my gosh, the production. Talk about another song that's gonna make you want to pop it. That song right there. Y'all got to get into Mind Games. Mission, that's another song. They got so many songs, to be honest. But get into Qveen Herby, y'all. I love me some Qveen Herby. We also had some honorable mentions on the list that, I don't know, maybe I'll do a part 2. I always keep saying that, part two, but there's just so many topics in the world that your girls got to discuss. But anywho, y'all got to get into B5. B5 is making a comeback. Well, they've been doing reunion tours and stuff like that for the last 5 years, but they're just about to hop on a tour with Bow Wow and B2K. And that's refreshing because they have been trying to get on the Millennium Tour, even the Millennium Comeback Tour that I got to go to, I think in 2022, and they were never selected. So the fact that our boys, outside of doing their own city winery tours, are now official headliners on this tour with B2K and Omarion, I couldn't be more proud. So shout out to B5. We love Black boy groups. We love Black boy groups. I'm gonna say it one more time. We love Black boy groups. Another person, Brooke Ballantyne. Oh my goodness. So at my sister's wedding, they randomly played the song Girl Fight. And number one, I just wasn't expecting to hear that at my sister's wedding because I just wasn't. Like, my family's like super religious, etc. But it just got me going down memory lane because her first album, Chain Letter, was so good. She had so many songs on that album. It took me down memory lane. I ended up downloading it and listening to it on the flight back to NYC. And then Brooke also did reality television on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. So if y'all want some like good quality R&B, 2000s R&B that you probably haven't heard, I'm sure you've heard the Mayas and the Beyoncés, etc., go listen to Brooke Ballantyne's first debut album. And then, do y'all remember the Fosters? That used to be my show. That and Good Trouble on Freeform. Well, Sierra Ramirez, she also was creating music in the 2015 to 2017 era, and I need her to get back into doing that because she mastered that whole DJ Mustard, Chris Brown sound, but had like her own little singing flavor on there. I think she killed it. So y'all need to get into my girl. Shout out to Monica. Monica was the one that put me on to Sierra. We knew Sierra because we had similar friends in the same friend group, so we always see her at parties, etc. But I always just thought my homegirl was an actress. But nah, she's giving like really good pop vocals. So I hope that she doesn't stop that. We see that a lot, especially in Hollywood. A lot of the people in the industry are very multifaceted. They all can sing, they all can dance, they all can act. But sometimes they have to pick a lane, or they're forced to. I talked about that with my testimony with Phase 5. They're forced to pick a lane and just stick with that. And I think it should be the opposite. I think you should throw all the darts at the wall. Obviously, one's going to stick, and one's going to give you that moolah or give you that fame, that recognition, that notoriety, but you should never not pursue the other passions that you have, especially if you love that. You love that shit. So yeah, shout out to my girl Sierra. But yeah, let me know what y'all thought about this. Would y'all like me to put y'all on to, more artists that you probably heard about once or twice, but you need a little push over the edge to listen to? You want me to do more of the Who's On Next, which are artists that you ain't heard about ever? Y'all let me know in the comments. I appreciate everybody that sits here and listens every single week to the weekly rundown. Y'all have no idea how much I be running around on the subway writing ideas in my notes. Can't wait to do my vision board party. Like, there's so many things that I know is going to take this to like the next level, and to have y'all with me at the beginning stages of this means the absolute world. So super appreciative of y'all. If y'all like what you heard, again, give us a 5-star review. Okay, share this with a friend, and stay tuned to next week because I have a feeling y'all gonna really enjoy some of next week's commentary for sure. With that being said, it's your girl Jer Bear signing out from another amazing episode. Y'all stay fly, stay blessed, and continue doing what it do. And I will chat with y'all next week. Holla.